Hey everybody, it's Pete. Welcome to a new episode of today's Best Stock Picks. And wow, we got a lot to cover today. Some stocks that are now reaching a point where there's profit taking we would expect today. So on a higher opening today, we'd be looking to book those profits on our swing trades. A couple of other trades that have now pulled back and finally given us a chance to get a really good entry into some of these trades, looking for them to take off to all-time highs. A couple of trades that we have stop losses in now. We're going to give you those levels. But first, I want to just say, if you find these videos helpful and actually make some money off of the videos, which we're getting some nice feedback, definitely click down and subscribe. That would mean the world to me, and you'll get updates, which is kind of cool. And if you want to trade with me live for the next 30 days, definitely learn about the boot camp. It's such a tiny investment for what you get. It's basically a 30-day seminar. So if you get in there, we're going to now get into, we're going to start with the market, actually. Before we start to get into the individual stocks, we're going to take a quick look at where the market is in the picture of as far as expectations for follow through, and the candle that we got yesterday on the daily chart, specifically in the SPY, and what that means to the potential next 3 to 5 days and how that sets up the next bigger move. So it's going to be interesting here. So let's actually go straight over to the charts. And the first thing we want to do is compare the SPY, obviously at or near all-time highs. I'm going to go over the three major indices. The Dow is definitely lagging, which, if you know what that means it's a divergence in what's what's known as Dow theory, where you would expect follow through if all three indices were doing the same thing. And you can see here the Nasdaq has been at all-time highs. Obviously, the big stocks in the Nasdaq have just been carrying the entire market. But getting into the SPY specifically, which is the main one that I watch on a daily basis and a weekly basis, is yesterday the SPY traded into what we call a melted candlestick, which basically means there was massive indecision after momentum. So we had well bid closing on the highs, well bid closing on the highs, closing on the highs, closing on the highs, but now well bid candlestick that actually closed below the open. Now, a lot of that was at the end of the day, but we're absolutely looking for a reversal today. Now, I know we haven't had one in a while, and if we zoom out to the weekly charts, you can see that we're basically in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-week rally. Now, can that be sustained? Sure, it can be sustained. We have a $2 trillion bid under the market right now holding it up. But let's just read the charts, let's just read the tape, and let's put the pieces together for what we expect to have happen today. I am not looking to be aggressively long today in the SPY specifically because there was indecision after momentum. This is the key here. Indecision without momentum versus indecision with momentum typically calls a reversal. And again, you can see we had all this indecision over here and we did not have momentum. So this indecision is really more of a pause looking for the next move higher. But the fact that we actually had momentum and traded into indecision, that tells me that the market, as well as if you're really on top of your game, the premiums and the VIX spiked a little bit. And a lot of the market leaders traded into consolidation days yesterday. So there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle today that would tell us that today's either going to be a pause or a pullback in the major indices, but we're going to have some pretty good opportunities in some individual stocks. So let's just see how that unfolds during the day. So as far as some stock opportunities, ABT actually had some really good news yesterday. We're looking for follow-through. We didn't get it yesterday. Many people don't day trade, but essentially this is where we were yesterday, and we kept calling for some sort of a bid to come back into the market, for buying to come back in, and we kind of just flatlined the entire day. However, that doesn't mean it's off the list. It's still in the list. Today, we're looking for it to be above yesterday's close and start to be buying pressure for us to look to initiate a swing trade. If those criteria are not met, you just let it go and you don't do anything. A stock from last week that just keeps consolidating is Target. Blowout earnings, good online numbers, and now it's consolidated for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days after, is that 6? 3, 4, 5, yeah, 6 days after this monster bullish gap. So now basically you'd have to imagine this is a giant green candle, and now this is a flag, it's a pause. So yesterday's close on the lows actually gives us a better opportunity to look for a spot to get long. It's opening a little bit higher. It's trading a little bit higher right now. This is a stock that absolutely needs to be in your list over the next week to 10 days. And Disney Congratulations to everybody who took the Disney swing trade with us last week. We kept saying 133, not yet, 133, not yet. 133 is the level. Well, we started the initial swing trade back here in the 126, 127 area, working that order. Yesterday traded up as high as 136 and change. We'd like to see it stay above 133. I don't like how it sold off yesterday in the afternoon. We would have looked for this to hang and push higher. So the tape has changed. So we have that 133 level that's been the level very similar to what we were looking at Caterpillar about 2 or 3 weeks ago, where Caterpillar did not hold. I want to use my words carefully here. The tape has changed. It should have followed through. It should have pushed through, and it should have stayed and closed on the highs if we can expect follow through. That did not happen. So this is a scenario where if you're swing trading this right now, you should be looking to move your trailing stop up in case the buying just dried up and can't hold it above that level. But congratulations if you took the trade with us. This is good $7, $8 swing trade in just a week. We're going to stick with Walmart. Gosh, there's a lot to talk about. Walmart, Tik-Tok news yesterday exploded. We're looking for follow through again today. Doesn't really need to be a lot of analysis there. Just make sure it's in your list. CRM had the blowout earnings, and this is actually what we're looking for in ABT today. So again, I know a lot of people don't day trade, but we're going to go to the charts, and you can see it actually bounced $5 at the end of the day. So another good day of solid buying. Looking for it to open higher again today. Here's the key, though. I'm not looking to swing trade this stock. I'm not looking to get involved in a stock that I think in this particular stock today, as far as holding it for the next 5 to 10 days. I want the stock to pause. I want it to pull back a little bit and then initiate a new trade. But if the stock meets our minimum criteria for a day trade, we can absolutely be in that stock during the day today too. The one that I want to talk about the most, we're getting a lot of questions about in the community especially, is NEO. We were all over it at 15. We built that trade up. We were talking about it for the better part of a month. Finally triggered, almost hit our target, 22 to 24. Didn't quite get there. Yesterday traded into a pause. Looks like it's going to open up a little bit lower. We have the stop loss at 18. So we're definitely going to walk away with the trade with something. It's a question of whether or not the buyers come back in and push it back up to our target. A couple of other trades. Gosh, we have so much to talk about today. Dick's Sporting Goods actually punched through this level that we've been watching for a while. And you can see actually that's when we stopped drawing it because we were tired of it not getting through there. So we're actually looking for the buyers to step back in and have support at previous, looking for a new swing trade. We actually talked about Target already, but again, make sure it's in your list. Gosh, I have so much to talk about today. The home builders pulling back and finally giving us an opportunity to look for a spot to bid. So we're actually looking for a lower opening or a test of the previous day's low. So we have Lennar, Toll Brothers, and Pulte Homes. All three of those we're looking to be initiating a swing trade today. EW is one that we have not been trading, but it's been getting called out every day in the community, in the boot camp. And I kept saying, no, not yet, because you see, we couldn't get through this level. A lot of indecision here. Again, hopefully you're starting to spot indecision immediately, right? Opening and closing in the same spot. And don't trade that. There's nothing to do, right? However, in just 2 days now, we've pummeled all of the resistance, and now we just need to stay above 82. As long as we stay above 82, we can start looking to build a new swing trade. Now, here's the deal, though. We're now 3 days into the breakout, right? And this is what the stock normally does. So if we look to the left, we're basically looking at 67 to 79, so roughly $12. And now it's gone from 78 to 84. So it's already gone 6. So just keep this in mind. You can build a position, but what the stock normally does in a strong move is $12, usually a little bit less than that. So the trade here now in this stock is maybe you could swing trade it for another day or two, but the next time the stock pauses, we're going to be all over it looking for a new swing trade. Next one, we have Medtronics, which actually punched through as well. So you can see we had a gap and decision and finally took it out. You can see we got plenty of room to go here as well. Starbucks, another one. This has been a little bit challenging, has not been very tradable from a day-to-day perspective. You can see that there has not been attention on it from one day to the next. There hasn't been these large green candlesticks for us to get interested in. However, what is interesting now is good earnings, bullish gap, pause, another close on the highs, resting comfortably at what might be called minor resistance with room to go to 90, easy to 90. So that's going to be in the list again today too. Qualcomm we talked about yesterday, and this is just all-time highs and pausing now for 3 days at all-time highs. Look, this is a buy. It's just a question of whether or not it follows through and follows through in a big way. We thought we had the head start yesterday, kind of like a head fake. where it just finally exploded. And maybe you can even take a look at the 5-minute chart to see. We were like, all right, finally, here we go. And then, boop, nope, not yet. So this actually is cause for adjusting your plan, maybe even adjusting your share size. I would not be aggressively long because it keeps poking through and failing, but it 100% needs to be in your list, because if you get that push and a pause at all-time highs on lighter volume, absolutely something that needs to be in the list. Two stocks that are in profit-taking mode today on a higher opening, MasterCard and Visa. I would not be initiating new charts and new swing trades. And what's interesting here is that Visa actually traded into a melted candlestick. So if you watch today's Stocks and Breakfast video, this melted candlestick after momentum should be pausing or reversing this momentum. So a higher opening today is a profit-taking scenario, not looking to add there. AMD has been in the list for a while, and you can see the tape has changed dramatically here, but the stock is still an absolute long. A lower open today is going to have me buying what we call the opening range breakout, and DHI also setting up a really good buying opportunity, especially on a lower opening today. Getting a ton of questions about Apple, as we should. Now we're starting to peter out a little bit here as Apple looks to end the month. I'm getting a lot of questions about, should I sell it because of the stock split? Look, if you own it already, keep it. You don't want to sell a great stock just because of the stock split. If you're looking to buy it after the stock split, no doubt about that. It's on everybody's mind right now. The stock's going to go from 500, if it stays right where it is now, to right around 125 in that area. Certainly changes how many people can get involved in the stock. Stock is still a long. It might trade a little bit weird today, just heading into the end of the month because of the stock split. Tesla getting a lot of questions about here as well. And look, the stock is definitely long, and it paused, gave you a couple of days, but now the stock has actually rallied into 2,300. So $300, maybe $400 in the last 3 days. If you trade the stock, you just have to ask yourself, what is my downside in the stock? And this is something we talk about a lot, is timing better entries. This was the entry, not here 3 days after it rallied. So that's a big part of trading, is really dialing in when you get into these trades. And it becomes much easier when you learn to anticipate. And that's a big part of trading, and it makes trading a lot easier when you're acting like a pro as opposed to reacting like somebody who just started trading for the first time. And if you really want to learn how to act like a pro, you need to start to learn to anticipate the best entries, so that when they do finally take off, you're building a great position because you already have your first piece, as opposed to chasing this price 3 days later and you're holding the bag when profit taking comes in. So absolutely along, just a question of how you manage that order there. So have a profitable day, and I'll speak to you soon.